Thank you so much. Some of the coaches shared their ideas in the break with me. I'm always happy to get into contact and dealing with questions I never dealt with and getting ideas I never thought of. And one of your colleagues had a great idea concerning the two line players in speed game. It was him. So if you want to share his ideas in two line players in fast break, would worth talking to your colleague. Thank you so much for your idea. I will take it and definitely try it, because this is something I made the experience when I was 24. I had some tactical ideas. Some other coaches were telling me I've never seen cannot work. And then everything is possible. The only thing is we have to put our ideas into exercises so that the players understand our ideas. I think we often take the tactic board, show our ideas, and only the really good ones are able to transmit ideas from the tactic board onto the real court. But they have to understand in exercises and in small exercises, I guess. And I was talking to the team after the training session, and we were talking about some ideas. I also want to talk with you. You are more experienced. You have already thought those ideas. And then I want to show you how this can look like. I'm pretty much in love. I'm honest in developing players. I've worked and I had the chance in the Bundesliga in Germany to work 3 years as an assistant coach, but this did not make me happy, because your job is more and more to convince people and to get people together under high pressure of results. And my job in the German Federation really makes me happy to have kids like those willing to learn and to develop players. And for developing, it also needs exercises and to know how you can progress, how you can adapt exercises to the level of competence or performance of the players, and not start with high exercises, although they don't have the skills. I was talking to the players about this situation only. Only this 2 against 2. Yesterday we were looking at the direct block situation, Germany against Austria in men's handball. Now I want to take this situation as we were training it with the boys. We had the line player moving for isolation of one-on-one. First we did this on technical skills. We had the puppets, they were playing one-on-one. Then we had the pass with all the things we did yesterday and so on. Then we took this defender as a real player, so that the center back had to decide, breakthrough or pass. Then we had this defender as a real player, so that he really had to win a one-on-one. And then we had a slight advantage, where this attacker was already in position. He could touch a certain point, and the defender had to move 30 centimeters more, so that the attacker got into an advantage. And then we were working on this. So the next steps would also be that we think about an opening again. How could the line player come into this position so that we can start? Do we have to start with a bouncing that he moves away? Can we also start with a pass to left back, receive the pass, and then the line player is moving? Could we have a crossing center back with line player, and the line player gets into position number 3? 3, 4 different openings for the same thing that is going to follow. So think about the opening, because this is the bigger picture in which we get this 2 against 2 situation transferred. What was really interesting with the players was when we were talking, what could the line player do in this situation? And I want to show you some clips of my team of under 17, where we played the Youth Olympics in Maribor 3 weeks ago. We have 2 openings. Either center back is attacking number 3, or left back is attacking number 3. We have these 2 openings. And the only thing our center back is calling is the name of either center back or left back, and he's saying which defender will be attacked, 3 or 4. So he's saying Jochen on 3 or Markus on 3. So, and then the line player knows which of these players is going to attack this one. So then the line player gets into eye contact with the player who is going to attack. And as soon as he has eye contact with him, he's doing things like, and that's all. That means the line player is showing, will he be moving away, or will he be doing a fake movement, like away and coming back? Because if he is moving away very early, then this player knows he is going to be attacked, and he will come out. And if he's coming out, the line player can have this fake movement and come back. And then the player attacking number 3 can pass to the line. Or he can make a pass feint to the line. Then this one will follow. And if he's making this pass feint, the other one is following, he could have the breakthrough. Another thing, so fake movement of the line is a really big topic, which can be trained in this 2 against 2 situation. And then the last situation is that, let's say, center back should attack number 3. The line player is already away, and we choose as an opening the shifting movement. So left back is moving here, center back is coming here, getting the ball, and number 3 defender is already outside. He's preparing to defend the one-on-one. So now center back is not attacking the one-on-one, but with great distance, he's moving inside again, and he's running past this defender. What will happen? Number 4 will help and close the space, and now the line player is not waiting in an indirect block. Right. He is not going for a fake movement, but he is going for a block to the outside of number 4 defender. And this is what center back can make use of. And he still has 2 defenders and 2 teammates to solve breakthrough, passing or right back to this position. Everything which will start from the 3 or 4 different opportunities in 2 against 2. Once again, you can start with bouncing of center back. You can start with pivot crossing. You can start with crossing in the back of the backward players. You can have left back attacking number 3. Then different options for the line player. Just moving away, making fake movement away and coming back, having the block to the outside. So the bigger picture is chosen by you, is explained on the tactic board, but what the players need to know is what they should do in the 2 against 2, by eye contact, by having many repetitions, and then they are able to do this. And next step for us is, if they are solving this again and again and they are successful, we have to educate defense. Because if we don't do this, our players think they are the strongest guys, and then they will play a different team, and they have a solution for defending that one-on-one, and then our players are looking at us. Coach, what's next? So don't forget to educate defense in the same time again, to show them you're not solving every situation, because you're sometimes solving it because the defense does not really want to defend, because they are just standing there and they think, I'm a puppet. Okay, so we have to develop this in same terms. And now I want to show you some of the clips where we only do left back on number 3, center back on number 3 of the matches in Maribor. So, in the match against Hungary, this is one of our biggest talents on left back, Jan Mudro. And this is called Jan on number 3, fake. Fake of the line player. Yeah, you saw the line player moving away, coming back behind number 3 defender. Yeah, thanks. And did you see the line player communicating with Jan Mudro on left back? So Jan Mudro here, the line player here, and he is trying to get his view. He's trying to get the view into his face, and then he's touching his shirt. Do you see? So that Jan knows he will be moving away and coming back. So this was one situation. Now, close to the end, the same on right back. Now it's Leo on number 4. The same situation, just on right. The right back, Leo, he's here. And you see the bouncing, like we did in the beginning. Bouncing to increase speed, to get into the sector, and the line player to move away. I don't know how you cannot whistle a 7 meter in such a situation, but they didn't. Okay. So then we have the same situation, and you see 10 or 12 sequences out of one match. We have the same situation as we had here. Jan on number 3. Jan is here now. Jan on number 3. And then we have the indirect block. It's only 2 against 2 in the center. Then in the match against Iceland, it's another left back. He got injured during the tournament. William on 3. He decides to go the one-on-one to the weak side. Here we have the same situation, but the line player is not moving away. The opening, as I said here, the opening looks different, but the one-on-one on number 3 is still the same. Let's look at it. Pivot crossing. Now the line player is already in this position. And it's again Jan on number 3. With fake movement of line player. Once again. And what is really hard in this situation, because you have seen that we did it with Jan on 3 before, you see what happens to the central defender. He's out after this situation because the coach says it's over now, and he is really with slightly easy things. He was not able to defend it. So here again, it's William on 3 against Iceland with a fake movement of the line player. So line player away. Number 3 defender is already ready to run outside. And the line player is getting ready to make the fake movement back behind number 3. And this is a very good situation for William. You see, with the fake movement of the line player, the space to the strong side gets open. And William only makes a pass feint to the line. The defender of the line player is following him. And so he has plenty of space. And there's only one mistake in this situation. Right. The right back is not supposed to come for a crossing here. He should stay and would be free for a pass. So Where's my mouse? Sorry? Take a break. Yes. But she's, yeah. She's still on duty. So, Iceland again, here with Jan. Jan on 3. Could also be enough to make a goal on your own. You do not need the line player every time. Jan on 3. So it's not enough to have those players, but we also have to help them find the right situations for them where they can apply their strengths. Here's again Jan with a pass feint. And a breakthrough. Another thing which I want to point out, because I think this is important, both teams, I was happy with both teams because they were, you realized for me when I was working with them that they care for each other. This is also something I pay great attention to as a coach with young players, that I say, if one of our teammates is injured, like Jan in this situation, because he receives a foul where the defense player is punished, and one of your teammates is at the floor and you do not know what is happening to him, I want to see my players taking care of each other. That at least someone is coming to Jan asking, are you okay? And not running away for water, for a towel or whatever. And this is also something which you can see which is of great importance when educating young kids, because we're not doing individual sports, but we're doing team sports. Only 2 clips. Only 2 clips. So you see when Jan is on the court, it's always Jan on 3. And if the line player is moving away very late and the defender is in a defensive position, you also need the skill of a good shot. So, and then I showed you some clips with good scenes. Here I want to show also what I consider is worth developing with young athletes. I'm not happy with the level of development in crossings. So we are trying to isolate again. The line player is now in sector 1, so that we want to play on this defender, a one-on-one. You see the transition we were talking about yesterday, and Oscar, he is staying in front of number 5 defender, so that Leo is able to attack him in the one-on-one. And I'm not happy with the quality of crossing afterwards, because Leo is only 180 And you see the Hungarian central defender. He's much taller than him, bigger, stronger. But this is not something which is decisive in handball, how tall or how many kilograms you have. But if Leo is getting him in a good one-on-one situation, we need to improve the crossing, which is too far away, and we were working on this yesterday as well. But it shows that our job in developing players is pretty much developing basic skills on the highest level. Basic skills on highest level. This would have been a perfect situation for a cross, and then it does not matter if he is smaller or only 80 kilograms. But the same idea, isolating spaces with the help of the line player. So, let's look at the last chapter, which we also want to talk about. I also prepared some picture rows concerning defense for you. I am going to show you some of them, and you can deal with them when Ruven is sharing the presentation. So I think talking about the modern role of a line player or the modern pivot, we have talked about different things. The playing ability to play in different situations, in a direct block, in an indirect block, keeping away helpers. And third, what we did this morning, assisting movements, moving away, opening space for one-on-one. So we have three different types where the line player can be involved. Therefore, he needs good technical skills in catching, throwing. All the movements should be according to the rules. He is not allowed to move in the goal area and so on. And his actions should be very quick. He does not have much time, because otherwise he is being pushed or bullied by the central defenders. That is why the backcourt players need to be really precise where they pass, in which angle. And then we talked about the role of line players in defense, the role of line players in speed game. You cannot imagine 10 years ago that a line player is coming for a defense job and then moving out because he's only a specialist in defense. In the role of speed game today, we need line players who are able to go with going to attack within 4 or 5 seconds. They need to be really, really fit and not only tall and full of weight. And third, line players are most of the time also central defenders because of their size and because of their status. I collected some figures about line players, and I distinguished between men and women. First of all, what is really eye-catching when you compare line players to other positions in handball is that on this position you need experience. You need experience on this position concerning age and concerning number of international matches. A figure which is also important, because we have talked about plenty of time of men's handball. I'm following women's handball in not exactly the same amount, but let's say 60-40. I'm dealing with women's matches as well. I already told you that Kari Bratseth from Norway, which you can see here, has become the second MVP in a World Championship as a line player. And what was striking in the last World Championship in Spain, that on average you have 14.5 shots from the line in women's handball. That was really a big increase. And Spain in men's and women's handball was the team with the highest percentage of all goals scored from the line. And this is striking and eye-catching as well, that Spain is so successful in men's and women's handball with a relatively spoken easy attitude towards to the game. Not many different openings, but line players like Agina Galde, Figueras, or Kabasama in the women's team, which profit a lot from their backcourt players and their technical abilities. And backcourt players, Entre Rios, Dushebaev, which are really able to get the ball to the line player because of their technical abilities in passing. So let's look at how the modern pivot looks like in statistic figures. Here are the quarterfinal participants of the World Championship in Sweden and Poland. Of all 8 teams, this is striking as well, in a men's tournament, I saw 27 line players being in the squad. With the women's quarterfinal participants, I saw only 21. So you could see that in a men's squad, you have on average 1 player on the pivot position more than in a women's squad. And I don't know why, maybe because of the physical toughness in defense, that you need more line players or more players with that profile. But this was striking, 1 player more in the squad in a men's team. And then I saw, I already told you, on average, the line players of quarterfinalists, those teams who play for medals, experience is very important. So the average age of the pivots of quarterfinalists is 29 years. Average height, almost 2 meters. Average weight, 100 kilos and more. And the average number of international matches, 83. 83, and in teams like Spain, where you have Guardiola with almost 200 matches, in France, who were playing for medals so many times, Luka Karabatic, Ludovic Fabregas, who is 27 years old at the moment, has more than 100 international matches. El Masri for Egypt, or Shebib with more than 200. So this is men's handball and statistic figures of the teams that played for medals. Let's look for the women's. In women's handball, experience on the line is not that important as in men's handball. In women's handball, experience in the backcourt is more important, if you can describe it by those things. But if you compare the 8 quarterfinalists, you'll find older players in the backcourt with more experience in the backcourt concerning international matches. Again, same amount of quarterfinalists, 8, but only 21 line players in the squad. In women's handball, on average 5 years younger than the quarterfinalists of men. I think this is not a great surprise that women line players are not as tall as or don't weigh as much. But what you can compare in an objective way is that they are not experienced that much concerning international matches. It was moreover striking that there were four players who were in the squad for a world championship in a quarterfinal participant who have not played at all at the beginning of the world championship. They had 0 matches. So I took 2 numbers. If I take all 21 players, the average number was 54. And if I took out the 4 players who were not experienced, it's still even only 67 matches if I divide it by 17 players. So comparing men's to women's handball, there's a difference in the importance of line players.
Maybe also, I don't know if you took into account that the women stopped playing before men because of
Because of?
playing,
Yeah, maybe they get pregnant or
that also maybe to compare men's between 27 years old and 28 years old with women's. Maybe there we can find that it's a little bit similar.
Yeah, it's a good remark by Ruven that we maybe should compare until the age of 27 only. Maybe this is a hint for those of you who still have to work on a master coach thesis or dealing with that kind of questions if you are involved in women's handball more, or you could compare line player to backcourt players. I think handball offers so many questions which have not been answered so far, and depending on which sector or field you're working as a coach, there are still so many questions which are worth dealing with to find solutions which bring you an advantage, either for a special team or for a whole system in developing female handball in Israel or somewhere else. But I guess it's worth finding people that help to develop not only teams but also the sport itself. Could be a great thing because we lose so many good players. Danik Snelder from the Netherlands, for example, it's better for women to get pregnant at the age of 20 or 30 and not with 50, if it's not impossible at this date. So we lose some players, or they have to take a break in this important period. And I can also add one comment to this question, because I'm fascinated by the way the Norwegian coach, Torje Hergesson, is thinking about leadership. Because I know that he has so many great players like Stine Oftedal, and he offers them that when they have become mother, that they can take their children with them to a camp, not when the child is 3 months, but when they are 1 year. They can bring their children to the camp with their father or with their mother, so that in the spare times the players are able to take care of their children and come back to handball, so that it's easier for them that they take care. Because I know many coaches who don't want to have this, and he has clear rules where it is possible and where not. And so it also depends on us coaches in this sector maybe. Yeah, and to finish, not only today's session, but also with the topic I have been talking about only shortly when I said we also have to develop defense. I want to show you some of the slides I added for my presentation, and which might be of help to you when we approach handball from the dark side of the moon, that we look at how can we deal with transitions from the point of defense. I think there are two things we should look at, and I added this slide. If the line player is in position 1 and 2, in the sector 1 and 2, or 2 or 3, we have different approaches how to defend transitions from the wing. The colleague over here, you have already helped me. What could a wing defender do against a transition? I put this together in this slide. If the wing player gets in an offensive position, wing defender O, offensive, he's able to destroy the mismatch, or the mismatch becomes more difficult, and also the shot for the backcourt players become more difficult. The other possibility in strategy could be the wing defender stays in a defensive position, stays down, and we need a third player to defend the mismatch, like in a triangle. Then we have superiority on the ball side. We have no breakthroughs there, but then we have to deal with what are we doing on the weak side, where we are in minority. How can we put pressure on the attack that they don't get to the other side that quickly? Here I have my strategy, what to do if the line player is in sector 2 after a wing transition. And there you find some thoughts as well. Here I have it in a bigger picture. Do we have a defensive half defender like Sweden played most of the time? Or do we have an offensive half defender like Russia did, or at least in Germany we say this is Swedish style, this is Russian style? I will share those slides with you, and I will also share some of the latest pictures I got. And I want to show you these before I finish, because my time is over, and I don't want to take the time of my colleague, but I want to show you what you will find in the slides. I've prepared you with some picture rows of the main round of the Junior World Championship, where you can see Hungary attacking against Denmark. You see a wing transition and the line player in position in sector 2. And on the picture row, you can see what is happening, how they are going to proceed, which defender is becoming offensive, and so on. And then I've also taken some picture rows from the final, Germany against Hungary, transition from the wing, and the wing defender you see in picture number 2, the wing defender coming in an offensive position, and how this affects the following up actions. So it's not a question of the system, it's a question of playing abilities in 2 against 2 situations and the variations you can make. So I hope those picture rows are a help to you, to your work. Maybe you can also take them to your team to explain, to get into communication. So I added those picture rows for you and finish at this point so that the team, which is already here, can work. Thank you so much for having me here. And all the best for the seminar, Ruben.